Good morning, everyone. Well, myself, Dr. Rajeshwari HV, working as an assistant professor in chemistry, JSS College, Kokak. In this video, let us understand about the free energy, which is one of the important property of thermodynamics. Free energy is defined as the maximum energy available in a process which can be converted into useful work. The free energy is also known as Gibbs free energy and it is denoted as capital G. The Gibbs free energy is defined by the expression that is G is equal to H minus Ts. So as represented in equation number 1. So here H is an enthalpy and enthalpy is nothing but total heat content of the system and S is nothing but the entropy, the randomness or disorder of the system, and T stands for absolute temperature. So according to the definition, the free energy is nothing but the maximum energy available for any process which can be converted into useful work. If H is the total amount of energy available and minus Ts is the amount of energy which is unavailable for the system, then if you subtract H minus Ts, where G stands for the maximum energy available for any process which can be converted to useful work. Now, the thermodynamic properties such as free energy, enthalpy and entropy are known as state functions. So, these are known as state functions because they depend on the present status, like that is initial state and the final state, and that's why the free energy, enthalpy and entropy are exact differentials. We can differentiate these properties between the limits, the initial state and the final state. So you can look into the free energy, change in free energy can be integrated between the limits, the initial state and final state. So we have G2 minus G1, that is delta G, and even H is an exact differential. So we can differentiate this between the limits H1 and H2, initial state and final state. Similarly, the delta S can also be differentiated between the limits S1 and S2. So it is S2 minus S1 is nothing but delta S. And since all these properties, that is free energy, enthalpy and entropy, depends on initial and the final state, so we call these properties as state functions. So they are independent of the path. They only depend on the initial state and the final state. Now let us know what is a Gibbs-Helmholtz equation with this background. If G subscript 1, that is G1, H1 and S1 are the free energy, enthalpy and entropy of the system in the initial state, and G2, H2 and S2 are the respective quantities in the final state, then if the system undergoes reversible isothermal change, so then I can write for initial state G1 is equal to H1 minus Ts1. So this is an expression for Gibbs free energy. For the final state I can write G2 is equal to H2 minus Ts1. So if you subtract final state minus initial state, that is G2 minus G1, that is H2 minus H1 and T into S2 minus S1. So then we have the expression, this G2 minus G1 is written as delta G and H2 minus H1 is written as delta H. T into S2 minus S1 is written as delta S. And this equation is known as Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. Now let us understand what is the criteria for spontaneous reaction. Now using the enthalpy and entropy concept, we cannot give the criteria for spontaneity or feasibility of the reaction. So well we know what is a spontaneous reaction. The reaction that occurs on its own is known as the spontaneous reaction. And enthalpy is nothing but H and entropy is nothing but S. Enthalpy is total heat content of the system. So if you take alone enthalpy, so alone enthalpy cannot decide whether any reaction is spontaneous or not, cannot predict whether any reaction is spontaneous or not. Because according to enthalpy concept, if delta H is equal to negative, we call that as exothermic reaction, and all exothermic reactions are spontaneous according to enthalpy concept. But if you take an example such as melting of ice is an endothermic reaction because ice is moving from solid to liquid state by absorbing the heat. So being endothermic, it is spontaneous. So now this discussion will tell that alone enthalpy cannot predict the spontaneity of all the reactions. Now the second concept, entropy. Now according to the entropy concept, if delta S is equal to positive, then the reaction is spontaneous. But there are some reactions such as dissolution of gas in a liquid. So in this case, the gas is dissolved in the liquid. So what happens to the entropy? Because it is the gaseous state is moving to liquid state, entropy is negative, it is decreasing, but still the reaction is spontaneous. Now from this discussion we can understand that alone enthalpy and alone entropy cannot predict the spontaneity of any reaction. So that's why the new concept that is a free energy concept is introduced, and this is the combined effect of both enthalpy and the entropy. So the new concept is the free energy concept, and the free energy is defined by the expression G is equal to H minus Ts, or delta G is equal to delta H minus delta S. So by using both enthalpy and entropy, we can find out whether any reaction is spontaneous. Now from the discussion, for any spontaneous reaction, the change in free energy should be negative. Okay, from the discussions, it follows that decrease in free energy, that is delta G is equal to negative, can be considered as the driving force behind the chemical reaction. So the above discussion, it follows that the decrease in free energy, that is delta G is equal to negative, can be considered as the driving force behind the chemical reaction. Now if the question is asked, what is the thermodynamic criteria for spontaneous reaction? Now according to the Gibbs-Helmholtz equation, if delta G is equal to 0, then we say the reaction is at equilibrium, and if delta G is negative, then we say the reaction is spontaneous, it takes place on its own. And if delta G is equal to positive, then we say the reaction does not occur or it is non-spontaneous. So for delta G is equal to 0 is equilibrium. Delta G to become negative, delta H should be negative, and delta S should be negative. So remember this, for what is the criteria for spontaneous reaction? Delta G should be negative. Delta G to become negative, delta H should be negative, and delta S should be positive. So this is the answer for the question, what is the thermodynamic criteria for spontaneous reaction? Delta G is negative, delta H is negative, delta G to become negative, delta H should be negative, and delta S should be positive. Randomness should be maximum, and it should be with a negative exothermic reaction. So that is, the negative value of delta G will takes place spontaneously. If delta G is positive, then we say the reaction does not occur. Delta G to become positive, delta H should be positive, and delta S should be negative. That is, the reaction with positive G value will never takes place. Now hope you understood the important discussion of this topic. So what is the thermodynamic criteria for a spontaneous reaction? Delta G should be negative. Delta G to become negative, delta H should be negative, and delta S should be positive. Now let us derive an expression for the dependence of free energy on temperature and pressure. And this is a very important question. It will be asked for a 5 marks question, the important derivation. We know that the free energy is given by the equation, that is G is equal to H minus Ts, that is taken as equation number 1. But H, the enthalpy depends on the internal energy. U stands for internal energy, and PV, that is change in pressure and the volume. If our work is mechanical, there will be change in pressure and the volume. Then substituting the value of H in equation 2, substitute the value of H in this equation number 1. Then we have G is equal to U plus PV minus Ts. Let us take this as equation number 2. Now let us differentiate the complete differentiation of equation 2 will give delta G is equal to dou U plus, that is P dou V plus V dou P, and minus T ds minus S dt. I'll repeat, dg is equal to du plus P dv plus V dp minus T ds and S dt. So we have to differentiate with respect to each term. So u is delta u, differentiate u. Then pv, please keep p constant and differentiate v delta v. Then keep v constant and differentiate p delta p. And similarly ts minus t ds and minus S dt. This makes equation number 3. But according to the first law of thermodynamics, right? According to the first law of thermodynamics, we know that delta U is equal to dq minus dw. So du is equal to dq minus dw. So differential form of the first law of thermodynamics. And if you rearrange the expression, right, we have dq is equal to du plus w. So but we know that ds, that is change in entropy, is equal to dq by dt for any reversible isothermal process. So this expression is for any reversible isothermal process. ds is equal to dq by t. So we have understood this in the previous discussion. Now in place of dq we have to substitute the expression, that is dq is equal to plus p dv. So work is nothing but p dv. So in place of dw it is p dv. Substitute this expression in place of delta q. Then we have du plus p dv divided by t. Okay. And then if this expression is rearranged, so ds into t, that is t ds is equal to u plus p dv. So this is equation number 4. Now substituting the value of t ds from equation 4 to equation 3, we have dg is equal to du plus p dv plus v dp minus, in place of t ds we have substituted du plus p dv here, minus S dt. Now these terms du plus du minus du will get cancels with each other, plus p dv and minus p dv, plus of minus is minus, will cancel with each other. Now we are left out with v dp and minus S dt is written over here. This is equation number 5. And this equation gives the change in free energy with change in pressure and temperature. So in a reversible process, so equation 5 is a total differential equation. Now equation 5 represents the dependence of free energy on pressure and the temperature. Now we have two conditions. Suppose if the temperature is kept constant, so let us see what happens to equation number 5. If temperature is kept constant, so then in the above expression, that is equation number 5, so the second term, that is dt, will become equal to 0. Then we can write the dg at constant temperature is equal to v dp only. That is free energy depends only on the pressure. Now rearrange the expression for v, that is d by dp of g, free energy at constant temperature. So v is equal to d by dp of g at constant temperature, that is equation number 6. Suppose if pressure is kept constant, then the first term will become equal to 0. Then we are left with minus S dt. So we can write dg is equal at constant pressure is equal to minus S dt. So minus S is equal to d by dt of g at constant pressure. That is equation number 7. So well, we have understood the condition A and B. So what happens when temperature is kept constant and B is pressure is kept constant. Now let us understand the condition. What happens for an ideal gas? So according to the ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT. Rearrange the expression for V. So V is equal to nRT by P. And we can write the expression, that is dg is equal to v dp at constant temperature. We know from equation 1, if temperature is constant, minus S dt will be equal to 0. Then we have dg is equal to v dp at constant temperature. In place of v, we have to substitute the expression, that is v is equal to nRT by p, so into dp. So if G1 and G2 are the free energies, so when the pressure are P1 and P2 respectively, then equation 1 can be integrated between the limits, that is G1, G2 and P1, P2. So this equation should be integrated between the limits G1, G2 and P1, P2. So if that is the case, so we will get back the expression G2 minus G1, because if you integrate dg between the limits G1 and G2, we have upper limit minus lower limit, and in this expression, in this term, nRT by P is nRT is constant. It is taken out of the integral, and then you have to integrate dp by P between the limits P1 and P2. So then we arrive at the expression delta G is equal to nRT natural log P2 by P1, upper limit minus lower limit. So, or since pressure and volume is inversely proportional to each other, so we can also write the expression as delta G is equal to nRT natural log V1 by V2. So this completes the dependence of the free energy and temperature and pressure on the free energy. Now let us come to the examination corner. These are the possible questions that have been asked. The first one is define the term free energy. So you have to give the definition. The free energy is the maximum energy available in a process that can be converted into useful work. And you have to give the expression also, that is G is equal to H minus Ts. Then second question is write Gibbs-Helmholtz equation and explain the term. So what is Gibbs-Helmholtz equation? Delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S, and explain the terms. So what is thermodynamic criteria for the spontaneous reaction? Is a reason giving question, 2 marks question. So thermodynamic criteria is delta G should be negative. Delta G to become negative, delta H should be negative, and delta S should be positive. So delta G should be negative, and delta G to become negative, delta H should be negative, and delta S should be positive. So this is the thermodynamic criteria. So then we have the question, derive V is equal to d by dp of G at constant temperature, and minus S is equal to d by dt of G at constant pressure. So this I have shown the derivation. You have to write up to equation 6 and 7. Then derive an expression for dependence of free energy on temperature and pressure. So again the same question is repeated, so other way around. So you have to derive the expression up to 6 and 7. And if they specifically ask the ideal gas, then we have to go to the last part, that is C part. So for these two questions, you need to derive up to equation number 6 and 7. So these two questions will be asked for the 5 marks questions. Thank you.